economy. To be honest, it is surprisingly resilient, almost like a bright spot in the world right now. US inflation is at a multi-decade high. Japan's economy is so bad, they're asking young people to buy and drink alcohol.
Paulo Mauro has said that given the sheer size of the country makes us logistical marvel that how these programs seeking to help people at low income levels have reached hundreds of million people, and India has emerged as a bright light at the time when the world is facing imminent prospects.
I think we should take a moment at 75 to reflect on what a relative success India actually is.
I want to make a prediction for you. I predict that the 21st century is going to be the Indian century.
Hello everyone. The U.S. Federal Reserve delivered another jumbo rate hike of 75 basis points, making it amply clear that it wants the U.S. economy to slow down significantly in order to bring down the runaway inflation. The fact that 75 is the new 25 shows that the tardiness displayed by the Fed earlier will now cost the U.S. dearly as it heads into a recession. Other advanced economies are in tow in increasing rates as they fight with their own challenges. With Europe staring at a harsh winter due to the limited supply of oil and gas, as a result the natural gas prices are skyrocketing in Europe. The prices have already doubled since September 2021. Annual inflation rate of energy has touched a record high of 41.9%. Food inflation has touched 10.4%. And now the GDP growth of 27 countries is slowing down. Putin's latest threat of scaling up the war in Ukraine will only exacerbate the situation. Also, there are countries with high chances of slipping into recession like Canada, UK, Germany, Japan, South Korea, and the countries falling under the Eurozone. That is the countries which have euro as their legal tender. But, amidst all the gloom enveloping advanced economies, India has emerged as an island of hope for global investors as its strong domestic demand rebounds after a pandemic-induced lethargy. S&P Global Ratings chief economist, Paul Grunwald, described India as a shining star of the slowing global economy. But why India is managing to stand strong when the world economies are stepping towards recession? How India and India's policies are the new headlines for the world. Let's find out.
This is your friend, with OTT. If you like to help to decide which topics I cover, let me know the topics in the comments section. Make sure you vote this up, so that YouTube knows you're enjoying what you're watching, and if you're new to this channel, do hit the subscribe button, and also hit the bell icon for all notifications.
Well, the reason behind the global investors tilting towards India is because India has showed great standards of growth, while the world is going in recession. The economy of India is a middle-income developing market economy. It has now become the world's fifth largest economy by nominal GDP, with estimated of $3.469 trillion, and the third largest by purchasing power parity, PPP, with estimated of $11.665 trillion. India remains the world's fastest growing economy, with GDP expanding 13.5% in the April to June quarter, the quickest pace in a year. Private investment during April to June increased 20.1% year-on-year. Government spending rose 1.3%, while private consumption was up by 25.9%. Also, Good Service Tax, GST, collections, which are directly proportional to economic activity of India, are likely to be in the healthy range of 1.42 lakh crore rupees to 1.43 lakh crore rupees or $17.2 billion in August. The gross fixed capital formation was up 34.7% in April to June, the highest in 10 years. The production growth is seen in 8 core infrastructure sectors, like coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizer, steel, cement and electricity. The output of 8 core infrastructure sectors expanded by 13.2% in June, 19.3% in May, 9.5% in April, 4.8% in March, 5.9% in February and 4% in January. Parallelly, official employment data showed that the unemployment rate in urban areas dipping to 7.6% in April to June from 12.6% in the year-ago quarter. Well, this doesn't stop here. As per the data, gross value added, GVA, grew by 12.7% to 34.41 lakh crore rupees, that is $41.6 billion in April to June this year. The GVA growth in the farm sector is 4.5% in the first quarter, compared to 2.2% a year ago. The capital goods sector, an indicator of investment in the economy, is showing robust growth. According to the McKinsey Global Institute, India's logistics sector would increase at a compound annual growth rate of more than 10%, from $200 billion in early 2020 to at least $320 billion by 2025. So, these are the results India has produced. With this, India's growth is set to be the fastest in the world, making it a sweet spot for global investors. But, what did India do different to bring them here? Let's dive into India's policies to have a better understanding of how they actually achieved the results. Well, this started into 2014. As by 2013, the much-hyped emerging markets bubble had burst, and India's growth rate had fallen to its lowest level in a decade. The promise of the BRICS nations Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa had faded, and India was tagged as one of the so-called Fragile Five. Global investors debated whether the world's largest democracy was a risk or an opportunity. India was on the brink of severe economic failure, desperately in need of a big push. India's 1.2 billion citizens questioned whether India was too big to succeed or too big to fail. Well, in 2014, the BJP government of India came into power, and to remove India from the brink of economic failure, the new Minister of India, Narendra Modi, launched several campaigns to transform India. While the most talked and the most focused plan was the Make in India campaign. The Make in India initiative was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in September 2014, as part of a wider set of nation-building initiatives. Devised to transform India into a global design and manufacturing hub, Make in India was a timely response to a critical situation. To make its success, Prime Minister Modi had announced the Production Linked Initiative Scheme, PLI scheme. Under this scheme, the Government of India offers a production-linked incentive to boost domestic manufacturing and attract large investments in mobile phone manufacturing and specified electronic components, including assembly, testing, marking and packaging ATMP units. The scheme provided an incentive of 4 to 6% on incremental sales over base year of goods manufactured in India and covered under target segments to eligible companies for a period of 5 years subsequent to the base year as defined. Also, an outlay of $3.5 billion for the automobile sector proposes financial incentives of up to 18% to boost domestic manufacturing of advanced automotive technology products and attract investments in the automotive manufacturing value chain. This became huge success for India, and they started second round of the scheme for the target segment of specified electronic components. This was not only helpful for Indian origin companies, but also foreign companies to set up their manufacturing plant in India. This was start of something called the shifting of supply chain to India. This was also boosted after COVID situation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the COVID shutdowns made the Western countries understand that they cannot rely only on China, that is on single nation for manufacturing, because companies that depended on overseas goods were severely impacted as a result of supply chain breakdowns. Methods that had been tested were no longer feasible. It was felt that the entire process needed to be varied, altered, and shifted. As a result, India arose as the chosen destination. the effect of which is clearly visible, as Apple Inc. is shifting its supply chain to India on a very large scale. Apple had crossed a record-breaking 10,000 crore rupees, that is around $1.2 billion, iPhone export figure in India, by the end of fiscal year 2021-2022. Apple exported iPhones worth 8,000 crore rupees, or $972 million, from India in the last 5 months. This figure is expected to reach 20,000 crore rupees, that is around $2.43 billion, by March 2023. Samsung Electronics have opened the world's largest mobile phone factory in India. Samsung is currently making 67 million smartphones in India, and with the new plant being functional, it is expected to manufacture nearly 120 million mobile phones. With this, India has now become the world's second largest producer of mobile phones. But this all met with challenges, as electronics and the automobile sectors were among those that last year were significantly impacted by a severe shortfall in the semiconductor supply chain, due to the start of China and Taiwan situation. So to tackle this, the government of India introduced a fiscal incentive program for domestic semiconductor production, to reduce dependency on imports from countries like Taiwan and China. The first semiconductor plant in India will be built in Gujarat, under this scheme with a one-of-a-kind investment of 1.54 lakh crore rupees or $18.7 billion, from Indian behemoth, Vedanta, and Taiwanese electronics manufacturing giant, Foxconn. With all such investments, India now boasts 70,000 businesses, including 100 unicorns. But India doesn't stop here. Under Make in India campaign, India started to manufacture its defense equipments without the help of the other nations. Earlier, India used to import more than 80% of its defense equipments, but now India is making all weapons it needs. Their import fell by more than 33% in the last 5 years. And to be noted that the weapons made by India have world-class capabilities. The indigenously developed Light Combat Helicopter, LCH, was formally inducted into the Indian Air Force, is the prime example of the same. The LCH is the only attack helicopter in the world that can land and take off at an altitude of 5,000 meters. It is also capable of firing a range of air-to-ground and air-to-air missiles, and can destroy air defense operations of the enemy. India showed so much growth in weapons sector that it is now exporting to over 75 countries, due to collaborative efforts. The recent decision of the Indian government to export arms and ammunition to Armenia, during the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh, has not to be merely taken as an exercise to enhance its defense exports, wherein it is targeting approximately 35,000 crore rupees or $4.25 billion export by the year 2025. In the year gone by, India exported defense-related equipment a little over 10,000 crore rupees or $1.2 billion, and the same is being relentlessly progressed further. Requisite barriers are being removed. Private sector is being encouraged for defense manufacturing and exports, and defense-related imports are also being reduced. As a result, the defense exports grew by 334% in the last 5 years. Well, this all was not an easy task to do so, as it required great infrastructure to sustain all these projects. Also, India was known for its complex foreign business policies, and too much delaying the projects, involving many scams and corruption. But Government of India understood the problem and acted as so. They came up with a 9.8 lakh crore rupees or $1.2 trillion plan, the Gati Shakti plan. In this plan, the government will build state-of-the-art, like modern airports, roads, rail lines and seaports. For this, the government of India will also develop a tech platform which will connect 16+ ministries across India and 100+ agencies. This tech platform will facilitate real-time mentioning of projects, with everything going digital for transparency. Talking of digitization, India is now leading into these sectors too. Speaking at the annual meetings of the IMF and World Bank Group, currently underway in Washington, D.C., IMF Director Kristalina Georgieva praised the digital access, that is the digital ID, Aadhaar, brings to services. India deserves to be called a bright spot on this otherwise darkening horizon, because it has been a fast-growing economy even during these difficult times. But most importantly, this growth is underpinned by structural reforms. Among them, the remarkable success is digitalization in India, from digital ID to providing all services and support on the basis of digital access, said Georgieva. Well, Aadhaar is a 12-digit unique identity number that can be obtained voluntarily by the citizens of India and resident foreign nationals who have spent over 182 days in 12 months immediately preceding the date of application for enrollment, based on their biometric and demographic data. The data is collected by the Unique Identification Authority of India, UIDAI, a statutory authority. Aadhaar is the world's largest biometric ID system. World Bank chief economist Paul Romer described Aadhaar as the most sophisticated ID program in the world. India also launched an initiative, UPI, which brought financial revolution in India. Who would have ever imagined that a robust cash-based economy like India would have a massive influx of digital payments? UPI, a term unheard or unbelieved until April 2016, but in modern India, UPI is the flag bearer of the ongoing financial revolution. From a tea vendor selling a 10 rupees tea, to a showroom with a pricey product range, a large section of India's society has adapted to UPI. In the early stages, a year after the launch of UPI, the total number of payments was 6% compared to 36% of card payments. However, in 2021, UPI's share expanded to 63%, while the percentage of card payments shrunk to 9%. The progressive advancement of UPI has not just constructed an efficient payment instrument, but it has connected millions on an inclusive and well-structured digital platform. But what is UPI? Let's try to understand. Unified Payments Interface, UPI, is a system that powers multiple bank accounts into a single mobile application of any participating bank, merging several banking features, seamless fund routing, and merchant payments into one hood. It also caters to the peer-to-peer collect request, which can be scheduled and paid as per requirement and convenience. Basically, if you want to pay any merchant, or do any kind of money transfer, you just have to scan the QR code provided, or just enter the recipient mobile number, or UPI number, and the payment can be completed within seconds. Well, doesn't it look like any other banking app? So what makes it unique? Firstly, it provides immediate money transfer through mobile device, round the clock, 24/7, and 365 days, that too without any hidden charges. It only requires single mobile application for accessing different bank accounts. With single-click two-factor authentication, it provides a very strong feature of seamless single-click payment. It became the best answer to cash-on-delivery hassle, running to an ATM, or rendering exact amount, utility bill payments, over-the-counter payments, QR code, scan and pay, based payments, donations, collections, disbursements scalable. Raising complaints, all can be done from mobile app directly. And it's not just limited to one app. The top UPI apps which are driving the growth are Google Pay, Paytm and PhonePe, with WhatsApp Pay and Amazon Pay joining the competition. It became so successful that now India has gone global with it. UPI has earned an endorsement in Singapore, Bhutan, Nepal, UAE, Japan, and the US. On June 17, 2022, India announced UPI and RuPay cards will soon be accepted in France. Continuing its expansion outside India, the indigenously developed real-time payment solution UPI will now enter the UK market starting with QR code-based transactions. The UK will be the 8th country where UPI-based services will be made available. India is also targeting additional Asian markets like Malaysia, Vietnam and Thailand. It is forecasted that by 2026, and $45.6 billion or 1.12% of India's GDP will be boosted by UPI payment. Now you might be thinking, India really is going to be a shining star, but the path isn't that simple. However perfect this may seem, there are always some challenges which might turn this around. The world's geopolitical tensions and the oil war going on is having a repel effect on Indian economy. Well, looking by the bigger picture, keeping everything into account, experts believe that India will become a $5 trillion economy by the end of 2025. Well, that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do you think it is the beginning of Indian golden period? Will India become a $5 trillion economy by 2025? What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in comments.